So now that the 12 Arcanas are united and Ryoji has been born, he will become the Appraiser. His role being to lead Nyx towards the Earth and initiating the Fall, but before we can explain what the Fall is, let us first examine what Nyx is. This information stems from the Persona 3 Club. So, what is Nyx? Nyx is actually a celestial-sized planet eater, and during prehistoric times, Nyx crashed into the Earth, where her psyche and her body were separated. Her body became the moon and her psyche remained on Earth. However, her psyche clashed with the already existing psyche of the early life forms on planet Earth. Thus, life evolved in a way that would seal her away, creating shadows in the collective unconscious in the process. This means that the fall entails Nyx's psyche and her body rejoining. That would mean that her psyche, that still is manifested in the collective unconscious of every being on Earth, will be forcibly ripped out. Then, as her psyche begins to rise up to rejoin with her body, which is the moon now, the moon will follow and begin descending upon the Earth, which we can actually see happen in Persona 3, where during the final battle, humans start turning into shadows, and the moon starts descending as her avatar's body is sucked up into her celestial body. In the true ending, the fall is only prevented by the protagonist following her avatar into her core and surrendering his life force to seal her away. But the purpose of his seal is not actually to keep her away, but instead to keep humanity's wish for death, which has been given form in Erebus, from reaching her. Now that we know what Nyx is, we can go back to where we started. Ryoji is now remembering his role in bringing forth Nyx's arrival, but due to him being stuck inside the protagonist for a decade, he feels sorry for Cease and he wishes to offer them an easy way out. Ryoji explains to Cease who he really is. He tells them about the fall, about his role, and about how Nyx is a being that words in the human language cannot describe. Basically meaning that she's undefeatable. Going into battle against her will lead to a incredibly crushing defeat, with the days leading up to the battle being spent in constant anxiety. But due to him forming a human form, he wants to spare them from even facing Nyx in the first place, and save them from spending the rest of their lives in constant fear. He offers them to let them kill him. This would not save them from the fall, but only delay it. However, it would erase Tartarus, the Apathy Syndrome, the Dark Hour, and all of their memories. That would grant them the ability to look forward towards the future with optimism, and when the fall happens, they wouldn't even realize. Everything will just disappear from one second to the next. Ryoji tells them to consider this, and then he leaves. And now they have until the 31st of December to make a choice. And the days after this reveal, the Cease team actually sinks into a depression, which we've never seen in the game before. They don't know how to cope with the fact that everything they did was for nothing, and they believe that they cannot change fate and that their lives are over basically. But on the days leading up to the promised day, they start realizing that even if Nyx cannot be defeated, they would rather die trying in battle than taking it all and running away. Because after everything they've been through, running away will truly undo everything they did. Now it's the 31st of December and Ryoji arrives. He asks them if everyone has come to make a choice, and then he goes up to the protagonist's room. They all have one final talk where they unanimously agree to face Nyx, and Mikoto goes up to his room to talk with Ryoji. During their conversation, they are alone, which is what Ryoji also points out, and so he gives him his choice: face Nyx or give up. When Mikoto first declines and tells him that he wants to fight Nyx, Ryoji transforms into his true form. Should Mikoto now accept the offer, Ryoji thanks him, expressing his happiness over meeting him, and Mikoto readies his evoker, summons his persona, and kills Ryoji. The moment Ryoji dies, everything flashes to white, and the memories of everything are wiped away. The time then skips to one day before graduation day. Mikoto, Junpei, and Yukari are walking to school together. They've completely forgotten everything that happened the past year. They don't remember the time they spent together, or even meeting Koromaru, or Ken, or Akihiko. They don't remember Shinjiro, Mitsuru, or Aigis. And she remembers everything. But we're gonna talk about that later. The next day is graduation day. During her speech, Mitsuru mentions that her father has passed away from illness, without any signs of knowing that this isn't true. The graduation day ends and the trio decides to meet up for karaoke. During karaoke, everything seems great and happy and wonderful, and then, yeah. Now, we can only speculate what happens, but I think it's pretty clear. In that moment that everything turns to grey, the fall happens. Nyx's psyche and her body conjoin and all life on Earth is wiped out. Remember when I said that Aigis remembers everything? Yeah, she's not a living organism, she's a robot, and her memory is unaffected. She remembers the times they spent together, she remembers Ryoji, Nyx, and the protagonist's betrayal. But she decides not to interfere because the Dark Hour is already gone. The ability to summon their personas and her chance to fight is gone with it. And thus the only thing she can do is spend her time alone. She can't talk to anyone because they don't remember her. So all she can do is wait. Alone. What makes all of this worse is that over the course of the story, she kind of became human, at least in heart. Which means she probably can feel the fear. Let's speculate a bit and make everything worse. When the fall happens, it's implied that everyone loses consciousness and turns into the lost. However, this doesn't apply to Aigis, since she's a machine. So she wanders throughout Tatsumi Port Island, all alone, and all the people that she met, all the friends that she made, are dead. All she can do is wander the wasteland until her body breaks down, with her memories persisting, constantly reminding her that if they had chosen to fight, they might have been able to save everything.